listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Frederick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Proof Text. I'm Michael Halcomb, and I'm here with the sensei himself, J. M. Smith. J.M., you doing all right?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing good. I survived my trip to SBL, and you guys survived being in a house with me for a couple of days, so It's a win-win.
Well, it was a good time, man. It was good to see you, and that was a long days of work and a lot of standing for me. So running the Glossa House booth every day, lots of standing. So
yeah, you guys were putting in some serious time. So I know how hard you were working. I got to see it up close.
Yeah, it was good to be there, and San Diego next year, and an even bigger booth and better booth on the horizon. So yeah, man.
That's exciting. I mean, y'all had a big booth. I can't wait to see what you're going to do next year, because this one was pretty unbelievable compared to last year. So
yeah, I got some ideas knocking around in my head already, so pretty stoked about that. I think if we can pull off what I'm envisioning, it's gonna be great. So we already got. I mean, since then we've already had 2 authors submit complete manuscripts. So we have like 6 more books getting ready to come out, dude. Like
That's
already.
great.
I mean, and we've got authors wanting contracts, and so we're staying busy, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, let's it's good to be back on 10 questions, and it's been a minute, so let's jump into it. If this is your first time watching this, what we do is simply get a random verse, and we bring curiosity to the table and ask 10 questions about the verse. So I get 5, JM gets 5. The rule is no answering. Right? So we can ask questions but not answer. So we have talked about doing a 10 answers episode. It might actually be fun to have somebody else come on and try to answer the 10 questions.
Yeah, that would be.
So anyways, so I'm going to pull up a random verse here. JM doesn't know what it is. And I use the random Bible verse generator to generate these. That's what I've started doing. So I'm going to pull this up here in a minute. I'll tell you, we're going to the New Testament first. And we are at Matthew 5:17 is what the random Bible verse generator gave me. If you're watching, I'm going to put that up on the screen. And if you're just listening, that's fine too. We'll read it out loud. This is a pretty short verse. In the English, the NIV says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." Yeah, so that's where we're starting. I'm sure you know this verse to some degree, JM. So you want to take the first question, or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll do the first one.
All right.
My first question would be, well, I to start with the basics. What section of the Sermon on the Mount does this come in? In other words, what is the immediate context that Jesus felt the need to bring this up? Does it relate to anything before or after?
Yeah. All right. So what's the immediate context? Does it relate to anything before or after? I guess mine a little bit overlaps with that. So these are like a negative command, do not. Why does Jesus feel the need to issue a negative sort of command? Do not think this. Do not think that. Why does he add it? So, sometimes there's positive commands, but why what's the occasion for him feeling as though he needs to issue a negative command?
All right. My second question is about that verb that you're talking about. So nomisite,
Yeah.
nomisite, nomiso. So I know other Greek verbs for to think or to
Mm-hmm.
reckon, but I am not familiar with this verb. I don't know how it's used elsewhere and what sense it has. Just looking in BDAG, it's got a couple of different definitions, and think, believe, behold, consider, follow, or practice what is customary. It just seems to have a wide range, more than just like the typical word for think in Greek, which I think is gnosko, or no, gnosko
Mm-hmm.
is to know, right?
Yep.
Um,
Doko, Yinosko. Yeah, there's
yeah. So
numerous.
is this an unusual verb, or is this the normal verb that you would expect in this type of sentence? That's my second question.
Excellent. I'm gonna fire a quick one again and piggyback on yours. This is a
Hmm.
literary question. Does he use nomisete, nomisete, because there's sort of a euphonic connection with nomon. So you have the gnome at the
Mm.
front. So maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Is that why he uses this verb? So you were asking, is this the normal verb? I'm asking, then could there be a sort of euphonic, rhetorical, literary reason he's using this particular think verb in relation to the nomon that he's talking about?
Mm. That's good. I like that. Um, so I would want to know, my third question is likewise, do not think I have come katalusai, so to abolish or to
Mm-hmm.
destroy, or I know that is related to the verb aluo, to loose or to destroy, or
Mm.
and when you stick kata on the front, it changes the meaning a little bit. But my Greek's not good enough to ferret out those nuances.
Mm.
So I would specifically want to know, how is katalusai, this verb, used? What is it usually used to describe? Like when you abolish or does it mean abolish? Does it mean destroy? When it's used elsewhere, not just in this passage, because it's this is a big theological issue. Jesus's relation to the law, and a lot of people obviously thinking that he has abolished it. Certainly his view on the food laws was quite unexpected. So what sense does this verb have as well, just like with the other verb? That's what I want to know.
Hmm. I got another rhetorical type question. Um, we we see repetition. So we have particularly elthon kataluse and then elthon kataluse. And before that, on the first one, we have an oti elthon, and so an omicron word, and then another omicron word, up elthon. So we have like, you could lay it out to where it forms a sort of parallelism, and I'm wondering, uh, is that purposeful? Because he didn't need to repeat Elthon Kataduse or even add Allah, right? He could have just said, "Do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets." Elthon Plerose, I came to fulfill. Avtus, I came to fulfill them. Right? That's an easy
Mm.
way he could have said that. Elthon Plerose Avtus, but instead he repeats the Elthon Omicron word Elthon Kataduse. So seem to be something emphatic going on there with like this parallelism and this repetition. So I'm wondering, yeah, what's happening there literarily and rhetorically?
Mm. Hmm. My fourth question is, all three of mine, or my three up after my first question, these are all vocabulary questions because that's so crucial, is these terms. So he uses plerao, the verb, and to fulfill. Where else does he use that verb, or where else does Matthew use that verb in this gospel, and how does he use it?
That's really, really good. Yeah, very important word right there. My fourth question, just in general, is what would it look like to abolish the law or prophets? That's sort of the negative. I mean, evidently somebody is, well, if we mirror read, somebody may have been thinking that Jesus did come to abolish the law and the prophets. So what, if he had come to do that, what does that look like? What was that person thinking or espousing that the abolishing of the law or prophets looked like? Did it just mean they were irrelevant? Did, like, at this point, did it mean like the covenant was fulfilled, like the sacrificial system was fulfilled? What entails abolishing the law and the prophets? Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
No, it does. It does. Because that's a serious charge. That's actually a capital offense. If you were to take it as teaching blasphemy. And so, yeah, it's a super serious charge. And I would want to know, yeah, you're exactly right. What are they seeing him do that makes them think that?
Yeah. I think we both got one more question left.
All right. Well, my last one is going to trail down to the next verse, because in 5:17 he says, "Don't think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets." But then in the next verse, when he says, truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of the pen, will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. And he doesn't say from the law and the prophets. So I would want to know, because I would just think in 17, he's using law and prophets as shorthand for all of the Tanakh, but then he doesn't include the prophets in 18.
Oh, nice.
So I wonder why, and if there's any significance in leaving that out, or is just the law also another shorthand for all of the Tanakh? Because elsewhere he says the law and the prophets and the writing. So he even uses the threefold division. So yeah, I would just want to know if there's anything going on there, reason why he shortened or left out the prophets.
Oh, that's a great insight. My last question, I know that with regard to the Gospel of Matthew, that Jesus is portrayed, or it's argued that Jesus is portrayed like a new Moses. And so I'm wondering if the reason he actually, I'm kind of circling back to one of my first questions, the negative command, do not think, is he using the do not command to sort of imitate the 10 commandments? Do not, commit adultery, do not commit murder. Is that negative command a sort of imitation of Moses? Yeah. So very good, man. There's some really interesting questions that you raise, and yeah, hopefully, if you're watching, you find this pretty interesting too. And if you have questions about the verse, we'd love to hear from you. If you're watching or listening, wherever you're getting this, feel free to sort of chime in and let us know what you're thinking as well. But really, we just want to show you what it looks like to bring some creative lenses, some observing lenses to the text. So, yeah, Jay, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And thanks to everybody for listening. We'll stop there and say we hope that helps.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glosahouse.com today. Glosa House, language resources for the global community.